Hi, I'm Carl Tape, and I'm going to show you some of the capabilities of the Alaska Earthquake Center seismicity map and interactive tools. So here we are on Google. We type Alaska earthquakes and hit something. The first website there is Alaska Earthquake Center. From this main page, you see the seismicity map shown here. So click on that. And then we'll first check out some of the capabilities. We've got a zoom at the lower left. You could probably also use your scroll pad if you're on a computer or on a phone. Here's the legend at the bottom. We'll pop that up. It shows red dots are last 24 hours. The orange dots are the last 2 weeks. At the top right are 4 different icons. First one is a list of the latest earthquakes. This latest one here, magnitude 2.9, was about 20 minutes ago. We won't explore these individually, but you can scroll down and dive into those deeper. We'll close that. On the next icon, we can see that we can play around with the limits on the magnitude range. So I can, as I raise the lower limit, I wipe out all the small dots until there's only a couple left. In fact, some do right in the Anchorage region at the moment. You can change the time range. So if I scroll this up, I'm going to be looking at removing some of the yellow dots, but all the red dots should still be there since they're in the last 24 hours. And the last one is the depth range, which seems to peel off what is the Pacific plate or the deeper stretches. And that one will make more sense when we color these by depth. So in the next panel, we can color by depth, and I'll just do that. So now we're looking at the legend, different legend here, showing the red ones in the upper 35 kilometers, the yellow ones 35 to 100, and then deeper than 100 kilometers, and the slab are shown here. So if we went back to the scale by depth here, you can see that as you change the deeper depths, you're removing the deepest events, which correlate with the color shown here right now. So back to this panel, we have 4 different choices of base maps. This is the default. Here's another one, darker one. You can play around with that if you want a different map. We'll go back to the default. You can turn on and off certain things like the pipeline here. You can turn the active faults on and off from the Division of Geological and Geophysical Survey. Seismic stations, and these are from the database as active. So if a station is assumed to be active providing data, it is shown on this map. The rupture patches for the largest events, like the subduction events in Alaska, are shown here at the bottom. 1964, 1938, and then along the strike slip plate boundary in the east. Turn those back off so you can control what's being shown there. Volcanoes, the volcanoes on and off along the Aleutian Arc and in the Wrangell St. Elias. So we can go in here to this final tool and explore the seismicity. It says to begin, click draw. Click 2 points on the map. So we'll go 1 and 2, kind of a cross section through the subduction zone. It says use the square marker to change the area and select a plot type. So I will make one like that, and then we'll go cross section. And what we see here is a cross section of the Pacific plate. I can scroll it here if I can move this to the side a little bit. This is the Pacific plate diving down under North America. We can change this cross section a little bit. We can make it narrower, reset, draw. Maybe I'll put it more through the Anchorage region right here. And cross section. So there's this plate going down under Alaska. It's got the 2 main events here. The biggest ones you can see, the shallower event and this deeper event, both within the subducting Pacific plate. We can also plot here cumulative, which would show as a function of time the number of earthquakes. In this particular box, there's 180 earthquakes in the last 2 weeks. You can see the big ones kind of step up when there's a few aftershocks associated with these larger ones. So it's not just a linear a line here. We can also do magnitude time, which shows as a function of time what the magnitudes of each event are. So really we're looking at the epicenter, which is the latitude and longitude, the depth, which gives you the hypocenter, the origin time, and the magnitude. So it's a limited set of numbers for each of these events, but it allows us to aggregate this information in a lot of different ways. So hopefully you get an idea here on how to explore this yourselves. And later we'll take a look at diving down into any one of these earthquakes.